We will be discussing the issues related to the subclavian, innominate and aortic arch region. This is a simple region which starts becoming complex with the aging process. Aging will lead to more of the tortuosity, distortion and dilatation in this region, leading to some very complex anatomical situation which may make the transradial procedure little bit difficult. But if you know the tricks, you can work through this region very effectively and very easily. In this section, we will be discussing the subclavian tortuosities, stenosis, issues related to the innominate artery, the arch of aorta and dilatation and distortion of the anatomy of the arch leading to different loops, and of course, a congenital anomaly, that is arterial lusoria, which creates impact on the procedure, how to diagnose it and how to deal with it. This is the normal anatomy of right subclavian artery, which arises from innominate artery and continues as right axillary artery. This is the normal anatomy of left subclavian artery, which arises as a branch from the arch of aorta and continues as left axillary artery. This is an example of normal anatomy of innominate arch junction. You can see the catheter course has a very smooth curve in this region. This is an example of total occlusion of right subclavian artery. This is an example of a tight atherosclerotic lesion of left subclavian artery. This is an example of long segment atherosclerotic lesion of right subclavian artery. This is an example of mild tortuosity of right subclavian artery. See the catheter course. This is an example of severe tortuosity of right subclavian artery. A standard 0.35 inch guide wire is in the ascending aorta and the catheter refuses to pass through the tortuosity. At this stage, both catheter and guide wire were gently pulled back, which straightened the tortuosity, leading to easy entry of catheter in the ascending aorta. This is another example of severe tortuosity in this region. Once again, the catheter refuses to enter the ascending aorta as there is difficulty to pass through the tortuosity. The similar technique is applied, leading to easy entry of catheter in the ascending aorta. This is one more example of extreme tortuosity of right subclavian artery. Similar maneuver was applied, leading to successful entry in the ascending aorta. Procedure was completed successfully. While coming back, we documented the tortuosity. Again, there is an example of significant tortuosity of right subclavian artery. A standard 0.035 inch guide wire has a tendency to enter descending aorta repeatedly. The catheter and the guide wire together were pulled back and careful rotation led to ascending aortic entry. Sometimes deep inspiration may help easy ascending aortic entry in this situation. Here is an example of tendency for the wire and catheter to enter in descending aorta while working through left subclavian artery. Similar maneuver will help easy entry in ascending aorta. This is an example of a small Z loop occurring because of significant dilatation and distortion of ascending aorta and arch, leading to significant change in regular anatomy. In this situation also, at times there is tendency for the catheter and wire to enter descending aorta repeatedly, and the same maneuver described before will help entering ascending aorta. This situation can also be called pseudo arterial lusoria. This is an example of a sigma loop. Usually it is seen while working through left subclavian artery, particularly when you are working through a dilated and distorted aortic root. Here is another example of a sigma loop. This is an example of a rare developmental anomaly known as arterial-lousuria. The right subclavian artery originates from the left of the origin of left subclavian artery and traverses retroesophageally. This anomaly is very uncommon, and as per the literature, the incidence is around 0.1 to 0.2%. In our vast experience of more than 35,000 transradial procedures, we have come across only 63 documented such cases. You can see the course of standard 0.035 inch guide wire through arterial-lousuria in the ascending aorta. The catheter is now being negotiated over the wire to enter the ascending aorta. However, the catheter along with the wire has a tendency to slip in the descending aorta. The catheter is being pulled back at the subclavian arch junction. The catheter is then carefully negotiated further, and with the first feel of resistance the movement is stopped. At this stage, both the catheter and guide wire were pulled back together as one assembly, which led to easy entry of the catheter in the ascending aorta. Note that this is a very dependable and reproducible technique while working through a case of true arterial-lousuria. Here is an example of left coronary cannulation in arterial-lousuria situation. Although the loop looks very complex and bizarre, it is easy to cannulate once you know the proper technique. This is an example of RCA cannulation while working through arterial-lousuria. This is an example of RCA intervention while working through arterial-lousuria. Note cobra loop of the catheter. Stent implantation is now in progress. The procedure is completed with satisfactory end result. This is another example of classic arterial-lousuria. The technique of entering ascending aorta has been demonstrated, and RCA stenting is performed. We have also documented arterial-lousuria while coming back. We have also documented arterial-lousuria while coming back. Now, there is another example of arterial-lousuria complicated by significant subclavian tortuosity. LCA injection reveals a critical LAD stenosis. Stent implantation is in progress. This is the clean result. You can see significant subclavian tortuosity, which is so apparent because of catheter course. This is another view to show the result. And now one more view. While coming back, we documented both arterial-lousuria and subclavian tortuosity. This reconstructed image from CT angiogram reveals mirror image right aortic arch. Try to understand the relation of right subclavian artery with ascending aorta and descending aorta. It is more in the coaxial alignment with the descending aorta. This is the reason why the catheter has a tendency to slip into the descending aorta, just like arterial-lousuria. About 0.01% of the normal population has right aortic arch, and around 25% of the patients with tetralogy of Fallot will have right aortic arch. So, it is important to keep this anomaly at the back of mind while working through right transradial approach. Here is an angiogram of right aortic arch in the same patient. Note that the wire and the catheter has tendency to enter the descending aorta. It can be misinterpreted as entry in the inferior vena cava, as descending aorta is located in the right paraspinal position. Angiogram with the pigtail reveals this complex anatomy. Another angiogram in high position gives better understanding of this anatomy. Keeping the curvilinear calcification of the ascending aorta as a roadmap, ascending aortic entry was done with the wire. Aortic root angiogram revealed normal right coronary artery. Left coronary artery injection revealed normal LCA.